So I will hit record. Thank you, Eileen. Props to Eileen Whipple, who had me record this today, if it's good. If it's not, you'll know, nobody will ever see it. So I went to lunch. Actually, Stephanie and I went to dinner with some friends of ours. They've been in LifeVantage, not currently active, and frankly, not in our team proper, but really good friends. And so we went out to dinner, and of course, it turned to business. I say we went into ice cream. Turned to business. He's like, Seth, let me ask you this. I'm wanting to get back. I'm wanting to go do this. What do you think the number one thing you need to learn is? And I said, okay, so here's the deal. There are really five areas, and I already gave you those areas today, right? 5 areas you need to invest in: personal growth, duplication, presentation, social media, leadership. And I can seriously look at my career over the last 18 years. And by the way, I've been a 6-figure earner for 17 of those 18 years in the industry. It's been a constant and continual battle of raising my lid and learning, raising my lid, progressing, and developing in those 5 areas. Now, social media, when I say social media, 18 years ago, it was social networking, right? Learning to utilize my network that I already had. Today, we've got social media, and so that's part of it. But as I thought about that, I said all these areas are important. But I'm going to tell you they're all important. You leave any of them out, you're hosed. But if there's one that could get you growing your business faster, right? I mean, if I told you personal growth and development, the problem with that is, you know what you're going to go do? You're going to go read 10 books. You're going to sign up for the next course, and you're going to think, presentation. I told him this. I said, if there's one, he's like, what is it that sets, the leaders away, the successful leaders apart? And I said, I'm going to tell you this. I think it is this: the ability for you to speak and people to follow. It is your ability to gather people to speak, and people not just listen, but do, right? It's just, wow. And I think about the leaders in my industry, people who attract others, right? And a lot of that comes down to telling your story. Like, I can't think of any one single thing that you could implement today that the new person could implement right now today. That's not intellectual. That's not just the compilation of 10 years or 10 months or 10 weeks or 10 days of developing this one skill. One thing that you could do right now today that would flip the switch in your bank account. And it's this one thing: the ability to speak and inspire people. And that comes down to telling your story. That's the one thing, guys. That's the one thing. I think of my first mentor, Diane. When she spoke, people listened, and I modeled her, and then I spoke, and I didn't feel like as many people listened, and I wasn't as good as she was. Okay, she was like 10 years ahead of me. But I will tell you this: I touched people. I'll tell you this: I didn't gather as many people as I wanted. I didn't recruit as many people as I wanted. But look at me today. Would you take what I got? Right? It's never been good. God forgive me for saying this. I've never been satisfied, right? I always want more, but I've been really blessed. I'm content that I've been blessed. I'm not content that I'm going to stay where I'm at. But it comes down to people saying, wow, yeah, let's do that. Wow, yeah, I love what you said tonight. So knowing that, I invested in Pat Quinn. I bought the $1,300 VIP ticket. And I did it for that one thing. I did it for that one training. And so what happened is, the week before GoPro started, I sat with Pat and anybody who bought VIPs and Pete Vargas, and we hashed it out for several hours. And we basically got that training that, that he already did, but just took it to that next level. I feel, I don't even know what happened. I went through it. I mean, it was all a blur right now, but I crafted my story. And I'm going to tell you, maybe it wasn't even a couple of hours. Maybe he did a couple of hours. I don't even remember, but he went through everything that he already covered in 7 days and last week. And he did basically another session. And I walked away from that. I'm looking, do I have, because I took notes like crazy, but I'll tell you one thing that I created from that training was this one sheet. There are my notes. Maybe I don't have it here. I thought I did. I have one sheet of paper. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is my outline. This is my outline. It's not completely full, but this is my outline for what I used to prepare my story that I shared on Saturday night at GoPro. And I recorded that 3-minute presentation like 20, 30 times. I mean, 2 hours straight. 2 hours straight in front of the camera, starting, getting, oh, no, messed up there. Stop, delete, starting. I recorded it the first time. It was, I'll tell you, I told my 3-minute story in 9 minutes. Okay. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to get better. And so I re-recorded it. And you know what? I told my 3-minute story in 10 minutes. I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be going the other way around. What's wrong with me? But I dialed it down and I started mapping it out. The before, just like Pat talked about, the before, the pivot, and the after. Okay, that's the essence of your story. Okay, the before, the pivot, and the after. And then he's like, and the best stories. And Rachel, thank you so much, because I really did.
He'll be back.
He leaves right on the high note there.
I know. It's like
it's a cliffhanger.
Who wants to finish his sentence? That could be funny.
I'm back. Dead battery. So the before, the pivot, and the after. And Rachel, I appreciate, because I felt like I pretty much nailed it. I nailed the structure, right? The interesting side note to that is Morgan, who was voted the number one presentation, probably didn't nail the structure as much, but had componentry of it. But what's interesting to me, and this is kind of my thought, and this is kind of the banter, after the thing. I thought if Pat Quinn was gonna rate it, I would have done, it would have been different, right? But that's the beauty of it. In fact, that's the beauty of it. Morgan's story touched people. And you know what? I mean, my emotion was there. Everything was there. There were a lot of things, I mean, being second to the first doesn't help when people are doing voting, unless they're voting right then and they're voting on structure. But what mattered is her story stuck with people. And that should be on everybody's mind, that, and frankly, the 18-year veteran who probably is making more money than any of the others didn't win. I hope that message comes to you. Morgan's story, and frankly, the third place dude's story, right? And by the way, when we were doing like all the background stuff and Pat was talking to him, he's like, just so you know, I can't remember his name, but your story was very normal. That was what Pat said to him. Now you're all thinking, wait a second, we need to have extraordinary stories. we want to do extraordinary things with our stories. But his story was very normal. He took third place, for crying out loud, right? Sugar Daddy took second place, because it was stinking funny, right? She was my second choice, by the way, after Morgan. I didn't win the story contest. And in a way, although I'm super competitive, I didn't go in there to win it. Although I will tell you that, I won't say that I wasn't bummed after they went third and first. After they went third and first, I said, it's either Morgan or me. I knew it. I knew it was either Morgan or me. I'm glad I didn't. And here's why, because I'm stinking hungry now to go take my story to 10,000 people, right? And not worry about some story, speak off contest. But the fact that I didn't win is maybe the biggest like proof that what really matters is that you get out there and tell your story. But I'll tell you this. So what I've struggled with my entire career is keeping my story like in check. Like my story's always going crazy places, right? And part of it is because of the lack of structure. I've never really grabbed onto one structure that I really liked. And I've learned to story tell. And that's one of the reasons I'm really good at what I do, is because I do tell stories, right? But to tell the Seth Mulder story, and now having gone through this training, I'm telling you, it may be the single best $1,000 of training I've ever invested in my life. Because now in 2 minutes, well, actually, I take that back. In 90 seconds, I can tell you my before, my pivot, and my after with 3, count them, 1, 2, 3. 3 things before the pivot and the same 3 things after. And in the best stories, the before points, right? My point was, little things were out of place in my life. I painted the picture about I gave the intro with being in corporate America and running my own businesses. And then I said, here's the little things that were out of my place in my life, my finances. And I explained, look, here's the problem with my finances, the revolving door, the debt hanging over my head. Number 2, the limited time. I had somebody always telling me what I had to do with my time, my boss or my own business partners, and number 3, the belief in myself. I couldn't necessarily just say, go for it, Seth, because I believe in you. It's okay. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about. Those were my 3 little concerns. Network marketing came in, being a professional in this industry. And you know what? The transformation happened was, now my finances are like this. And my time is like this. And my belief in myself is like this. And those 3 things are hand in glove, right? Super easy to follow.